So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Psychology of Social Engineering. If this is not the talk you think you are going to, you're in the wrong room. It's very simple, very easy. This is really odd for a kind of a technology talk, right? Because you're thinking, well, he's going to do psychology and he's going to talk about stuff. So I thought I'd nerd it up a little bit and we'll just do hacking the human OS instead. Because that people can get. Because the thing is, we are all installed with a beta version of the human OS. It's full of bugs. It's full of crazy things in there. The developers left some freaking awesome little gifts in the form of Easter eggs and personalities and different other things. You discover different parts of yourself as you grow older and you go, oh, that's a hidden feature. Mine's out of the gutter, kids, come on. I know we're in Amsterdam and all that, but geez. You find different things, you find new tricks, you find like, oh, I didn't know I could do that, or you learn new stuff, and we rarely get an update to the human OS, because it does evolve. We are kind of like Windows 3.1 at this stage. We're still kind of figuring out Windows and stuff. But before I start, I'll introduce myself. Some of you have met me already, and some of you have actually come back. I'm really sorry. I am a managing consultant with Capgemini in Stavanger in Norway. As I said before, I live in Norway, but I'm Irish, hence why the non-Norwegian dialect. I'm an MVP on DevSec and Visual Studio and developer tools. Azure Advisor, sorry. Anyway, tweet me at Niall Merrigan. I do like tweets, because it is kind of nice. It was kind of fun that you actually did take on that, and I had 11 notifications. I felt special. And you can email me at niall.merrigan@capgemini.com. So, before we start, we're going to do some fun things. I'm going to go through some of the psychological, sociological, different levers, bits and pieces that we use on a day-to-day basis that you probably didn't realize were social engineering, but actually is. But before we start, I'm going to ask my two volunteers. Wasn't it Ronald and Frank? Can you guys come up here? Because I'm going to get you guys. I need your phones as well. Make sure you bring your phone. Bring your phone. Bring your phone. Good. Come on. Because no. You're going to need it. Yeah, so you stand here and you stand here, okay? So first thing, unlock your phone. Don't show me what you're doing, because I just need you to unlock your phones. Great. Okay, can I hand that? Great. Can I take that? Great. Can you go sit down?
No.
Go sit down. No, go sit down. Go sit down. Go sit down.
My phone is unlocked.
Your phone is unlocked, but that's fine. You're going to be the social engineer.
No, you are going to be the social
No, I'm
engineer.
not.
No, yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
No, I'm not.
I'm not going
You sit down. No. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, after 20 times doing this talk, 2 people didn't sit down. Normally I get them to go, okay, fine. And then I go, who wants to buy a phone? But there's one guy going, hang on a second. His one brain cell on the left ear is going to the other brain cell on the right ear going, he's up to something. He didn't call it hacking the human OS for nothing. Well done. Yes. Very simply, normally what happens is, God damn it, of course it's been recorded, great, you failed. Normally what happens is people will literally hand you over the phone and sit down, because they are doing a favor to you, and people want you to win. They don't want you to fail, unlike you two assholes. Bleep it. That's not a bad word in Dutch, is it? Bye-bye MVP. But they will normally kind of give you this because they want you to succeed. People want you to succeed because as a speaker, they are looking at you going, I'm so glad I'm not up there trying to entertain all these people. So it is a very cool little trick of why social engineering is all about doing dirty little tricks to get people to do what you want them to do. And with that in mind, I'm going to put something in front of you, all right? And we don't realize that most of social engineering and most of the social tricks we use are hidden in plain sight. When I showed this to my son, he goes, Papa, that's a cool little fox. I said, do you not see all the people? And he goes, no. I said, so there's a foot at the top, and there's a foot down the bottom, and a bum, and like legs and eyes. And he goes, oh my God, there's people. And I'm like, exactly. Now he can't see foxes without seeing people's bits. So when I showed this to him the first time, he kind of was freaking out. And he said, how did you do that? Why would someone do that? I said, well, this is art, I think. And Your mother says it's art, therefore it is art. And he goes, okay. Now he's only 5, so he didn't really realize what was going on. But I said, okay, if I was to explain to him, I said, well, what do we see every day that kind of is a social engineering trick? And we see advertising. Now, specifically, men's perfume, right? Men's perfume is a really weird try to sell, okay? So what you've got here on screen, let's see if my new Fandangle thing works. It does. Cool. If you're wondering, it's the new Logitech mouse. Now, this is the speaker's edition of an Apple device. It's kind of funky. So you can do zoom. Sorry, I won't do that anymore. So how was the talk? Well, he was moving a little red dot around. So what we have here is a scent. It is Hugo Boss The Scent. Very aptly named. It's a smell. There's a guy in a suit with designer stubble and a woman trying to eat him. Okay? She's whispering, take off your clothes. But that is what they're trying to sell you. It's a scent. It will not turn you into this person. It may, but the thing is that Hugo Boss does this. But if we look at something like Dolce & Gabbana, right? This smell might turn you into a man on a boat with a six-pack chiseled on an Aegean Sea with piercing blue eyes. The women in the crowd are loving this talk, right? They're going, I like the way he's going with this. You know, you could be there, right? But the thing is, in the 60s, men smelled like sweat. They smelled like barnyards. They smelled like dustbins. They smelled like crap. But it was okay because that was manly. Women smelled nice. Men smelled like you dragged them through a bush backwards, right? One company decided to change this. One company had the vision to try and make men smell different. And that company was Brut. Have you ever heard of Brut? It's a green bottle, okay? Literally, it is a smell, if it's in a room, will nuke everything else in the room. There is no other smell other than Brut. A guy walks in a Brut, everything else smells like him. He's like, oh, good. Now, but the thing is, and this is what happened. In 1960s, 1970s, they launched a very successful advertising campaign. And it became a smell that everyone associated with men. Because most of us, when we were small, the first male influence we have is our dad, right? And that whatever aftershave he used was the smell we associate. So if I talk about Old Spice, I talk about Brut, it takes you back to being 5 at Christmas and you're handing your dad his 17th bottle of Brut, you know, that he's received that year. So like they capitalized on this.
For every man who wears Brut, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brut that's nice to be close to.
Yeah.
Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brut, it smells like a man.
Now, you're probably thinking this is like very cheesy. It is, because like there's an old phone in there. But seriously, the thing with this was, it was just an example of where people were going with this. They were emphasizing that if you wanted to smell manly, you smelled like this. And then they sold it with sex, because that sells. So then Old Spice came along and they did the exact same thing again, except they added a man. But the thing is, everyone remembers this smell. If someone puts out Old Spice on, you're like, I remember that's Granddad. It's Dad. It's something old. But the thing is, you could be a man on a horse, ladies, you know, wearing Old Spice. But they're not the only people that do this. Underwear designers do this a lot, right? Now, this is a guilty by association. In other words, you could look like Justin Bieber if you wanted to. You just have to wear jocks. But more likely, we're going to look like this, okay? I am very proud of this slide. Because the only way most men will get a six-pack is when they go to the store. You know, it's right beside the nappies. I did find out that he was photoshopped in this, because this is the original. He's a little bit smaller. Notice that they did a key enlargement of a certain area. His biceps. There's goes, I really didn't like his talk. He made me look at things and I can't be unseen. Okay? They're not the only ones that do it. Car driving, or like cars. Like, so this is a Kia SUV, right? Now, with this in mind, How the hell do they park it like this? Because as far as I can see, they drove over the lawn, which is perfectly manicured, and then said, do you know what would be great if we got outside and had sex on the lawn? But we can't, honey, it's manicured. Okay, on the pavement. In front of my designer house. But this is the thing. A Kia SUV, and this is how Kia owners act. Anyone got a Kia? One guy, yeah, I got a Kia. Is this how you park? I hope to tomorrow. So this is where I kind of go that they're using aspirational. If you own this car, you can do this, or you'll have this kind of lifestyle. And then we have BMW doing this with the X6. Now, I can guarantee you, most times I've seen a BMW X6, it has never seen off-road. It might have seen a curb, slightly up, or it's just parked somewhere and everyone's going, God damn it, BMW owners. But this is the thing, it's an aspirational image. You can have an SUV, you can drive off-road. You probably won't, but you can drive off-road, you can drive your sofa off-road. It'll work, right? Now, when I look at this and I go, okay, we also see this very much with men's magazines. Now, this specifically, when you look at men's fitness and men's health, if you Google these two images, all right, Google that, you are literally going to be presented with images of six-packs everywhere, okay? And what they're doing is they are selling you have a problem, you're not this person. We have a solution. You could be this person by reading our magazine. The problem is, most times, as a person who lifts a lot of weight, usually out of bed, oh, come on. You saw that coming. Right? The only way you can get a six-pack is it's a lot of hard work, but it's a lot of work in the kitchen. You have to eat a sort of thing. You can see here that the person has potentially been photoshopped because, well, to get cover fit, it takes a lot of work. But you can see the way they've done the shadowing. If you look down, the lights are going down, so they can provide definition. So it is very easy to get a six-pack if you've got specific lights and everything done right. But they're nothing compared to women's magazines, all right? This is ridiculous. This is where I think this is so hard on being a woman. You have, like, eat up and slim down, right? And it's basically saying, you're fat, all right? Saying to women, you're fat, read our book, and we'll tell you how to get like this person, but you won't because Photoshop. And this is a psychological thing. It's an aspirational thing. You're being conditioned to being told you have a problem. You didn't know you had a problem until you walked up and looked at that image. Then I now have a problem. And this is where we're kind of saying that with this kind of advertising and togetherness, the social engineering, we're pushing you towards something to make it acceptable for you to have it. And social engineering, as we said, is dirty little tricks to try and get you to do stuff we want, which is to buy these things. Now, we have a number of different cognitive biases, which are things that our brain does that we don't realize, but everyone else knows how to hack them. So if you saw my talk beforehand, it was all like how Wi-Fi worked and all that, but cognitive bias works on a specific different traits that when you see something, your brain goes, okay, that's acceptable, and then uses that as a reference point. One of the ones that's very, very common is a thing called anchoring. Anchoring is a technique where we choose by comparing a nearby reference point. Many of you have seen this in the form of going to a bar, all right? Good-looking person, bad-looking person. They could be both very good-looking on their own, but then they're reference points to each other. Looks much nicer, looks much better, okay, fine. So you always find, you'd have to try and figure out which one you are in that relationship, when you're going out, as if you're the wingman or the actual bait. So we use anchoring, and it is very, very common to do it with pricing. Now, you didn't probably think you'd be doing economics in this talk, but we are. And Apple are phenomenal at doing price anchoring. So this is when you brought out the iPad Touch. So you can see here, cool. This is awesome. $229 for an 8 gigabyte. So that's your reference point. It's $230, not $229, because the 9 gets lost. We all forget the 9. The 9 makes it go, it's not 10. Therefore, it is not a 0. Therefore, it is 220-ish. Honestly, honey, I bought it for $299. It was under $300. But the next one, the 32 gig, is $70 more. But it's 4 times the storage. So your reference point is $229 to $299. So $230 to $300. And the next one jump is $100 to 64 gigs for twice the storage. You're not getting 100%, you're just getting twice the storage. So most people's heads will now go 4 times storage for $70, best deal. Because that's your anchor point. Your anchor point is the first piece of information you're presented with. So if you only saw me as the first talk ever, the next talk might be much better, right? But if I had someone like really good before me and I came afterwards, they are my reference point. He wasn't as good as the first guy. How many of you have said that before? It wasn't as good as the first game. It wasn't as good as the first ice cream I had. It wasn't as good as the first time you cooked steak. You know, it's this. We do this because we reference points. We are human. So when we do this and we look at this, this is a very common solution because we read from left to right. So we put an anchor point at the start. There's also what's known as a decoy effect. If you are the only person in the market, put 2 products out. Because put the products you want to sell and put the products you don't want to sell. The products you don't want to sell can be really bad and have a very bad price point, or it can be exceptionally good and very expensive, and then people will go, it's acceptable to take the other one. So when Amazon launched the Kindle, they launched 2 versions. The good version and the bad version. They launched the good version that people would buy and the bad version that they hope people wouldn't buy. That's why people launch 3 or 4 versions of a specific product, because they need to do it. Apple, again, have done this phenomenally when they released the iPhone. So we'll see here. Let's do it. Let's see if this works. Oh, wrong one. Press this button. Yay. So you can see $499, $599, $699. $500, $600, $700. Why did they get so expensive so quickly? I added 1. But your reference point for Wi-Fi is $499 to $699. Do you reference for 16 gig 3 plus Wi-Fi and 3G, do you go down? We don't. We just reference the 3G and go across. So most people, when they read this, even though they're presented with all the facts and all the information, what they are doing is they are reading left to right. They're not reading up and down. You're not seeing there's 130 difference to add Wi-Fi or 3G, sorry. And this is why people get a bit confused by numbers. So you've all seen the buy one, get one free, right? Okay? If I said to you, buy 2, pay 50% for each. Most people go, that's a really crap deal, Niall. It's the same bloody one, but people, they go, free? Power of free is exceptional. It's absolutely amazing. Now, when we look at this, for example, here, this is another form of anchoring. We're going from the most expensive down to the cheapest. And what they're doing here is they're saying the top one is $200. It's 5 cents. It's another trick with the .5. But we're going to go down 1. So most people will start looking at $29.95. It's under $30. It's 5 cents under $30. And that for them is the perfect price point because it's not $69, it's not $199. This way of working allows you to guide your customers and guide people into getting the correct pricing. And this is why price points matter. And this is why because we are tricking your mind into getting you to buy stuff or getting you to buy more stuff. If we look at here with the New York Times, I'll let you spend a little bit of time here with it. So first off, we have a basic subscription. It gives you access to the Times.com and the New York Times apps. We have got our best value, which is our all access one, which gives you 4 things in comparison to 2 because of the icons matched. It's also a little bit larger, and it's $15 a month. And the next one is $4.50 a week. Not a month, a week. Subtle, but they do it. And what you do here is you get a paper and you get the online, and you get a free online version. And because we know that the online version costs $15, this is effectively only $3 more expensive a month. It's probably a good deal, isn't it? Because free is awesome. But let me put you something slightly different. When you create a paper, what do you do? Okay, no one's ever created paper. And which? Research, yes, you do that too. That doesn't come free in this package though. You create it digitally. And then, so what we're doing effectively is we are compiling the source code for you, and then we're giving you the source code as well. That's what they're doing. But the free business here is a very attractive thing. We're giving you effectively what we consider $15 worth a month free if you pay $18 a month. You're all going, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, seriously, that's what they're trying to do to you. Like they originally, one of their first ones was fantastic. So they had a subscription of $89 a month for the digital edition, $89 a year for the digital edition, $129 a year for the print edition, and $129 a year for the digital and print edition. All right? Which one do you think they sold the most of? The last one. Very good. Why? You get both. Exactly. Why do you think they gave away the other one effectively free? I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
It doesn't cost them extra.
It doesn't cost them extra. But what was their motivation?
Get more customers.
To sell more papers. What does a newspaper want to do? And it's all of a sudden the matrix is lifted. You get to understand why advertising is so much fun and why it is such a good social engineering trick. Now, let's actually go into social engineering. And we're going to do some phishing. Because we all know phishing is a Nigerian prince trying to sell me $50 billion if I give him a loan of $5,000. Correct? Right. You're all wrong. Phishing, that is called dragnetting. Dragnetting is the absolute hope. If I put down a net, I'll get somebody. And it's usually the stupid fish we catch. Okay, we are hoping we're going to get somebody. We may get somebody. It's a very low kind of return of investment. So what we'll do is we'll use something like spearfishing. Spearfishing is where we go looking for specific information about you and using that information to get you attracted. We call it a lure, and we will attract you to us. All right? We have a version in Norway. We go after CEOs. We call it whaling. Under UN, we're allowed to do it. You guys aren't. The Japanese are very good at it too. Takes a lot of research. Yes, it does. But CEOs are exceptionally vulnerable because they are too busy. So who do you go after in an organization? Who is the person with the ultimate power in an organization? Secretary, yes. Because they have control of the CEO. When she is out doing her job, the secretary is at home going, I will answer calls. I will do everything else. So when our CEO, when she is doing a phenomenal job and just traveling all over the world, I will ring up the secretary and I go, John, what's the deal with Claire? Where is she? Oh, she's in Tokyo. Okay, that's great. Good to know. I'll try and get her on her mobile. He doesn't know who I am. I've used his name because I found it out by sending some emails and replies. I have rang him, therefore I'm not a threat. Because phishers don't ring. People don't ring. People don't talk. They use email. And then I will use that and I will send an email to someone and saying, hi, I'm in Tokyo. I need you to transfer this money. I'll send it to a low account Friday afternoon, low accounting person, Friday afternoon, and send from Claire saying, listen, big client problem. We need to send $1 million to this Ukrainian bank account. Okay. Steve goes, that's awesome, it's 5:30, I'm meant to be home eating pizza. Boom. Whew. One Ukrainian's like, oh, nice. We buy lots of vodka. This is the problem, human error. We build defenses. We build huge amounts of defenses around our IT infrastructure. We build huge amounts of defenses into our software code. But then we get Steve. Is it Dave? Oh, Dave. Dave is brilliant, because Dave is human error for me. And Dave is exceptionally vulnerable. It's not these two boys. They're not that vulnerable. I'll get you later. I shouldn't laugh at my own jokes. Anyway. How many of you use LastPass? Cool. So I was told after my previous talk that Paula yesterday, did you see Paula's talk yesterday? She is absolutely one of the most brilliant hackers I've ever met. She scares the living bejesus out of me. I literally will pull batteries out of laptops not to talk to her. And I have a molded in battery, that's kind of hard. But she is epically good. But she pointed out that KeyPass was vulnerable, so that was pretty cool. So, and I'm using LastPass, which means it's not. But this is do you see what's happening here? This is a LastPass login. Normally this is a Chrome extension. So it would be Chrome extension, :.pw. What would .pw be? A domain. What does the domain mean? It's not a Chrome extension. This is what we call Pixelperfect phishing. It is an exact duplicate of what you expect to see, and because it's popped up and you're conditioned to put it in, you'll put in your username and password. When you put this in, we get some information about you. We also get your password, we'll be able to look at whatever logins. If you don't have 2FA enabled, it's a bit of an annoyance. This is another one. We see this a lot. Now, so in 2014, there was a massive data breach involving celebrities. A lot of naked pictures were released. It mostly happened due to this type of phishing. We will send you a link to say there's a problem with your iPhone or there's something gone wrong. Can you log into here? Your iPhone has been stolen or we've had an issue with your account. Can you log in here to verify your account? And you're all going, no one would fall for this. But what we'll do is we'll add a URL that says apple.com, right? So when it appears in the mobile, you'll see apple.com, but there'll be a dot or dodgysite.com. So we've just got two subdomains. And you go, damn. Because on a small screen, you don't see the full URL. So on the small screen, you think this is the correct URL. You go, okay. And you know how hard it is to get an SSL certificate, right? Yeah. Let's encrypt. Done. It's one command line, you're finished. So we can get one for our domain, no problem. So if I was to say, well, how, oh God, but Niall, I've got 2FA on my account. You can't get past my account. I've got SMS two-factor authentication. I'm like, so? A common thing is to do what we call smishing or SMSing. Because SMSing is a bit more intimate than email. Because SMSing, you have to have someone's number, right? And it's very easy to get someone's number because it's just literally 8, 10 digits, and we all can count. And numerics are very easy. So we just go, keep sending and see what happens. If it hits someone, it hits someone. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Right? See, if you got this information, there's been unusual activity in your account. Now, we're all really scared of credit fraud. We are all really scared of losing money. And this tactic says, if you get two large things in Harrods and Hamleys in London, and you're not in London, you kind of get a bit worried. My bank actually rang me when I was in Seattle. So this is what happened. I'm in Seattle for the MVP Summit. I go up to Starbucks, the one of 75 million inside in the shopping center, and I order a coffee, which cost me $3.50. So I use my credit card and I continue on. And I go downstairs to Helly Hansen and I buy a $750 jacket. So the time taken between that was 3 to 5 minutes. My bank rang me within 4. Excuse me, sir, are you in Seattle? I'm like, yes. We've had 2 very suspicious transactions on your account. I'm like, why? What did I do? Hope they didn't see the Victoria's Secret thing. It's for my wife, I swear. Right? And I was just, no, you had a transaction for $3.50 and then a transaction for $750. Oh yeah, I bought coffee and I went downstairs to buy a jacket. That tripped our alarms. Because apparently, buying a small transaction to verify the account is okay, and then buying a large transaction to take all the money out of it. Now, when we go back to two-factor authentication, if I was to steal, if you saw my talk earlier on, I showed you how to steal Gmail credentials. Now, you remember I talked about how we steal the 2FA credentials from it? This is it. Google, we recently noticed a suspicious sign-in attempt to this account from this, which we both ignored. And if you did not sign in from this location and would like to lock your account temporarily, please reply to this alert with the 6-digit verification code you will receive momentarily. If you did authorize this sign-in attempt, please ignore this alert. It's the other way around. We log in, we ask you for your 2FA code, claiming to be Google and saying there's a problem. You're freaking out and think you want to lock your account. You do it. And it's exceptionally difficult to do because it's like this is how you do it. It's a simple app. Now, I'll put this, I have a story. When I was over in Seattle, I logged into Facebook through the browser on my laptop because something had expired. I don't know what happened. I logged in. And then this email comes back from Facebook saying, you're logged in from Guatemala. I'm like, where? I said, I'm in Seattle, how the hell? And it freaked me out because I didn't know if it was a phishing attempt. I didn't know if I'd been on Wi-Fi, on the hotel Wi-Fi and had been sniffed or something went wrong. You're jet lagged, you're off a KLM flight, you're into Seattle. It's like, you think it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but it's bright outside. And there's a whole lot of people talking American to you and going, how awesome are you today? Do I look awesome? Where's my goddamn coffee? And I was like, oh God, what happened? And I recycled the entire Facebook password set. And then I realized, I went, okay, what is going on? I went on, what's my IP address? And it pops out. It says, this IP address is registered in Seattle. On some databases, it is erroneously registered in Guatemala. Oh, you asshole. Yep, and that's what happened. And I was like, oh God. Now, we have another attack, and we call this phishing. Voice phishing. I'm playing a video for this because it's kind of cool.
So I invited a few of the world's best hackers to try to hack me and show me where my vulnerabilities are. And now I'm going to meet them in Las Vegas for DEF CON, the biggest hacker convention of the year. They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
Do you want to do a sample of phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice elicitation, and basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and
Okay.
see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for uses information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
At gmail.com?
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Shh. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account.
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right, thank you.
Holy shit. So they just gave you access to my entire cell phone account.
You're gonna have to go on and change your password now because it's Jess, my name.
And all it took was a crying baby and a phone call.
Yeah.
Every time I watch that, I just go, how awesome is she? It's just absolutely brilliant. I can only imagine the poor support person going, oh, that poor woman. She's at home and that asshole of a husband made her doing this and the kid's crying and not being fed. I'll help her. You know, because what is she doing? She's exploiting the human OS. We're designed to be nice. We are conditioned to be helpful. People want to help. People want to be nice. Social conditioning says that if a woman is in trouble, we must help her, as a man especially. Social conditioning says we must be nice to people. It's general human decency in general, but I'm saying we want to be nice. So what they're doing here is using a very kind of a psychological lever. Crying babies are very hard to ignore. If you have kids, you automatically get used to crying kids, but you will always hear your own. If you're on a plane with a crying child and you don't have a kid, you're really pissed off. But if you're everyone else, you just go, headphones and good night. You know? Brilliant piece of kit. But we all, if you hear a crying baby, you're like, oh, poor thing, what's wrong with you? Oh, you're defenseless, let me help you. Oh, it's okay. Now, I was in a mall in Ireland, and I see this little girl. She's walking out of the Lego store, and she's freaking out, like she's about 4. And the first thing I do is I bend down. I said, honey, what's wrong? And she goes, I've lost my dad. I'm like, I'm sorry, let me help you. I said, do you know where he is? And he said, no. And I held her hand and I was bringing her back to the Lego store. The look on her father's face was, what are you doing to my daughter? Okay? Now, as a man, I had the best intentions. I was taking her back to the Lego store. She had wandered out. She didn't find, there's a lot of people in there, and I was bringing her back. Everyone else, I was a predatory stalker. No, because we are conditioned that men are like this. All we see is sex, and all we see is sex objects everywhere. But it's the thing, and you laugh, but it is true. Because we're looking at this and going, I was being nice. But I just remember, and I walked over and said, she lost you, and she's very upset. Don't give out to her. And he goes, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, and I'm sorry the evil look I gave you. I said, I totally understand. I'm a dad myself. These are my kids. It's just, calm down. And he's like, thank you. I thought you were something else. All right? And I was like, that's okay. But a crying child is a really good psychological and sociological lever. Add a woman into the mix and it becomes very, very easy to try to understand why people will try to help you. One of the best examples of this was the Matt Honan hack. Matt Honan was the owner of the @Matt account on Twitter. So the thing is, hackers got access to his account not by technological means, but by social engineering means. So they went and they tried to reset his password on Twitter. They noticed it said, we sent an email to your @Gmail account. They tried to reset their Gmail account. It says, I sent it to my @Me account. I said, okay, that's in Apple. To reset that, they needed his 4 digits of his credit card. Right? With me so far? Where is the most common place to see the last 4 digits of your credit card? Receipt or Amazon? Cards done that. And what happened was, Amazon at the time allowed you to add a card to your account without any verification. So the guy rings up, he says, hi, I'm Matt, I live at this address and I'd like to add a new credit card to my account. Okay, great, Matt. Puts in the 16 digits. An hour later, rings back, hi, I'm Matt, I've been locked out of my Amazon account. And they go, sure, Matt, can you give us one of the credit cards on your account? There you go, as everyone's now going clicking. So what they did was they gave back the credit card, great, got access to his Amazon account, took his 4 digits, reset his Apple password, got over to Gmail, reset that, and then we're in the Matt account, right? In the meantime, his iPhone was attached to the accounts, so they said that my iPhone is lost and my Mac is lost, please erase. So what they did was a distraction technique. Like most magicians, they said, look at this hand over here, don't ignore what's happening over here. So, when we do social engineering, we have to look at the different sociological, psychological, and physiological levers we look at, and this is one of my favorite ones. What do you see here? Oh, well done. Good. You've seen this type of person before. It's a pregnant woman. What do most people think when they see a pregnant woman? Wrong crowd. I'm out. I'm done. You look honest. Can you do the rest of this talk? They're all filthy, I think. Okay, let's try that again. Take 2. What do we all think when we see a pregnant woman? 2 legs. Jesus. Oh, God. Why do I even do this to myself? We think... Ask the correct question. Oh, God, do you want to give the talk? If you're going to heckle me, I will literally burn you alive. And I am the only person holding water up here. Ask the correct question. You're right. When we see a pregnant woman, most of us think, oh, that's great. They're pregnant. There's a new life coming to the world. Must get up, give them my seat. Pregnant women are hormonal and cranky. I know. And I mean this in a polite way because my wife was hormonal and cranky, and I used to, when she came home from work when she was pregnant, I handed her the paper and some chocolate milk and gave her 15 minutes of anti-cranky juice and stayed over here because it was worth it. But pregnant women are not evil. They're not sneaky. Their only concern is to provide a safe haven for their new child. They start getting clucky, what we call in Ireland. They start building a nest. Now, pregnant women are awesome because they are fantastic social engineers. Illustrated in point by this woman named Hyde. Jack live tweeted a penetration test she was doing. She had to do a physical on-site penetration test. She had to get in to the building and try and exfil some documents out. So what she did was she says, social media gave us as detailed pictures of their badges. Okay, very easy. If you want to see, like, if you go back to the TechDays NL, you'll find someone's badge. And that's how you get in. You just go, oh, look, there's the QR code, printed, off I go. The dumpster dive gave us internal personnel, phone extensions, and everything. So what Jack looks like is this. She's not an unattractive woman, dresses very well, but Jack says, this will not get past people. However, a pregnant woman will. And inside that pregnant belly is a trove of Wi-Fi hacking gear. She's going to have a beautiful 8-legged router. There's one dead one up there, apparently. When I saw that the first time, I was like, oh boy, don't like spiders. So Jack did this. And then she said, well, if I'm carrying 4 cups of coffee, which are containing water, people will open doors. Because my ankles are so swollen. People will do it. And she says, between the belly and a bunch of coffee, I had people jumping to open doors for me. Literally walking into a secure facility because she's pregnant. Hence why I think women are the best social engineers ever invented. Men are useless against them. Because we work on stereotypes, and that is another cognitive bias. Police and donuts, Irish people and booze, Dutch people and being tall, and bikes and cheese, and chocolate sprinkles on your breakfast. I went looking for butter. I found one little tub of butter and 47 different versions of chocolate sprinkles. If that's how you guys get tall, well done. We put all the little sprinkles under our feet. It's awesome. How was Amsterdam? Awesome. I need to fly home. Anyway, so we use the social or the stereotypes, because stereotypes are a very strong thing. We perceive certain people. We do this even with racial profiling. People are, when they see a person of color, they potentially think, oh, this is not right. If you see someone with like a turban, you think, like in America especially, they would think they're possibly Muslim, and then they start giving out stuff. But there's a very strong like bias. And we use this because, you know, we make, like comedians run this on every day. We make, as an Irish person, I get to make jokes about myself all the time. You know, as an Irish person, as I said, I can turn up to work drunk and no one will care. Because they'll go, he's Irish. But that's a stereotype, and I use it to my effect, and it works. Believe me. When I do social engineering penetration tester, hi, I'm Irish, how's it going? Don't know anything about computers. You know, and they think, you know, you're a bit mental, but it works. It's okay, he got out of the only open-air lunatic asylum in the world, he's lucky. We also have another thing called the Benjamin Franklin effect. And this is a really odd thing because it kind of goes contra to where you think things should go. It's where I asked the two gentlemen to do a favor for me. Right? And people, when they do a small favor, they're more likely to do a bigger favor for you. It's really odd. If you do a small favor for someone, you are more likely to do a bigger favor again for them. We call it the foot in the door syndrome. When you get the foot in the door, initially, and then you open the door, that you've done a little bit of favor, oh, I've let you in, you're more likely to listen and hear and buy. And this is a real counter-indicator to what you think should happen. You think that I would be better if I did a favor to you first, and then you would do something to me. But it works better if I can get you to do a small favor for me first. And social engineering will do that in the form of we combine a couple of different things together, and what we will do is we will ring you and say, hi, I'm Niall, I'm coming from Capgemini, I've got a PO I'm trying to reconcile here. If I send you over this PDF file, could you open it and check it? And you're going, okay. So I've now called you, I email you a PDF that has a virus or a kind of backdoor enabled in it, you double click it and your Adobe crashes. Oh, what version of Adobe are you using? Oh, are you using version 8? Oh, I'm using version 11, it's probably that. Listen, I gotta go to lunch now, but I'll call you back in 2 hours and we'll try and fix it up. You think, oh good, I've helped this man. It's awesome. And then I have now got backdoor to your system. So we use different psychological, sociological, and other levers to get our way. Remember, social engineering is dirty little tricks to get our way. So remember, we're going to go against what would be you consider ethics and morals. We take those out and we just use whatever we're given against you. I have literally 30 seconds left on stage. I'm open for questions. Anyone? Squeeze me? I'll try one. You? How do I guard myself? I'm Irish and big. How do I guard myself? Honestly, a very good question. A lot of the times I step back. If something, it takes a little bit of time to get used to this, but if some email pops in that I'm not expecting, I sometimes just don't do the instant, I go, what happened? I still have time. Especially if it's 2F8 or something like that, that's what happens. Guarding yourself against social engineering is knowing and watching the cons, knowing all that. There was another question in the back? No one else? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.